Hey, welcome back to Play the Hits. This is Max continuing 9S's story on NieR Automata. Chris, how you doing?
Happy National Intercourse Day Eve.
Is tomorrow National Intercourse Day?
Yeah, it sure is.
Interesting. Why is February 14th? What the hell? Weird. Okay.
Valentine's Day, Max.
Yeah, but I thought like maybe intercourse. I mean, I don't know. Rampant capitalism doesn't get me randy.
It just does.
The day demands coitus.
That's
You know?
exactly right.
How
I can
you
just
doing?
picture like Saint Valentine, and he's like in this big open like robe. Breed for me. Do it.
Wait, what was fucking oh, it was Hedonism Bot from Futurama. It was just like
Bot, yeah.
it's like there were bodies everywhere. And then the explosion happened.
The explosion happened.
Like, it was like talking about some horrible event. It was like bodies everywhere, and then that thing happened.
And then the explosion happened. That was really good. I forgot about that one.
Oh shit.
God.
So God, what do I do? What am I doing now?
You take a lady, you treat her right, you invite her home. Well, what else are you looking for here? Keep going.
Oh, that's right. I'm like, I'm so used to playing Rebirth right now. I'm like 70 hours in.
Right, you're
and
like
I'm just
trying to do all the controls for that game.
Why can't I fast travel? Let me fast travel. It's like, oh, right. This is a little purposefully antiquated that you have to go to these things to transport.
So you said you're finishing up with the desert in FF7?
Yeah, I only have like 2 more little side questy things.
Okay, so you're heading into Gongaga, then my favorite part, which is Cosmo Canyon.
Sweet.
Then, you'll be somewhat near the end game. But yeah, it sounds like you're going at about the same pace that I was. I was like stopping and doing like every side quest like as they popped up, and yeah.
I mean, the side quests are fun. Honestly, the game has good loot.
It made for a much longer game.
Yeah.
And I would dare say like a even more distracted game than the original, but kind of like you said in your text, to me that's part of the essence of FF7.
It really is.
Like it was never a, linear journey to beat Sephiroth, right? It was a journey to beat Sephiroth and then, shoot some hoops and go snowboarding.
Basically. Which, speaking of, I'm hoping there's a snowboarding game, but I gotta feel like probably not.
Not in this one.
Oh, damn. Well.
It'll probably be one of the first ones we get, though, in part 3.
Hopefully. Hopefully it does.
Alright, thanks.
Yep.
Alright.
Let's stay sharp and head back to the
So, any big plans for V-Day?
Not really. Hanging out with Addie. Probably just gonna, play some video games.
Sweet.
Let's see. What else? Probably go to Micro Center to pick.
How romantic.
Yeah. Oh yeah, seriously.
But no, really.
Oh, this is.
Wish we had a Micro Center here.
Yeah, Micro Center's pretty cool. I feel
one
lucky
of them
to be
I think opened up in Indianapolis, but it's.
Oh really?
Even that's kind of a trek, though. I mean, it has to be a deliberate trip. Like I can't. Like I would have to go with something that I intended to buy. I couldn't, unless I was with you. Then we could go browse and get lunch or something.
Yeah.
Probably
you got to be doing something in Indy and then just happen to go there to browse. Or,
Right.
If you're
Otherwise, it would have to be like an intentional trip. I am so glad that, after looking at the reviews, we can pretty much safely just ignore the 50 series graphics cards.
Oh, yeah. That it's just I mean, the thing is, for the price, if you totally skipped the 40 series... Mm-hmm. And you're like, but that's the thing is the 40 series is going to be on sale. So just get the 40 series.
Well, but right now you can't even really find the 30 series in stock right now, at a lot of places, because scalpers are doing their thing again.
Yeah.
And it really sucks that every time we get a generational change, it doesn't matter how insignificant it is. There will be an artificially inflated market that affects not just that hardware, but pretty much PC hardware in general, which just sucks. So like the worst time to upgrade actually is when the new exciting stuff comes out.
Yeah, for sure.
What a bummer.
You gotta, and I feel like these companies could do a lot more to like stem the scalping, but they don't because they don't care.
No, because a sale is a sale, right?
A sale's a sale. Stuff's moving. So.
Really? I'm happy to hear it.
All right. Why so many things?
You're always so cool on fire.
Valentine's Day is always a bummer though for me because it's like right on my birthday.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I really meant it though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it used to be cool when I was younger. Now it's just like...
I was about to say, why is it a bummer? Is it just a reminder, basically?
Yeah, it's just a reminder that one day you will die. No, I shouldn't do that. Like, I'm trying to be that way less. Like, I'm trying to enjoy my birthday again, because it is, it's an achievement to live to a ripe old age and, have a family and people that care about you. And I need to remind myself of those things instead of being like, oh, God, I'm 1 year closer to the grave.
Hell yeah, dude. That's a good way to look at it.
It is, but the problem being I don't look at it that way right now. It's like I'm well aware of what like the healthy outlook is, and I'm also aware that I do not possess that outlook currently.
Maybe one day you'll get there.
Yeah, I mean it's mind over matter. It's reminding myself that I am blessed and being positive, enjoying what I have, and yeah, I mean it's all good stuff that I know how to do. It's just like the prospect of aging. I think we're more conditioned by society than anything to like believe that the process of aging is a negative thing, right?
Yeah.
Like we idealize youth to an unhealthy degree in this country.
For sure.
And not that youth is bad, but I think like while kids are youths, we tell them that they should, be more like us adults. And so consequently, when they get to adults, what do they crave? The simpler times of their youth.
For sure.
Yeah.
Although, a lot of times we'll also say, like, don't ever grow old. Like, but that's...
Yep.
Yeah.
We're just, like,
usually
full of
that's the
shitty
very old
contradictory
among
advice.
us. We are.
We don't know what the fuck we want, and that's never been clearer during a second Trump administration, during which Trump isn't even our acting president. It's Musk.
Basically, it's Musk.
Did you see that 14 states filed lawsuits saying that his the capacity that he's acting as head of Doge is unconstitutional? I mean,
it is. But...
It is. I'm 90% certain it won't go anywhere, but it's nice that at least some people with authority are saying this, at least.
Yeah, no, I didn't see that. That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what states there. I'd be willing to bet Illinois is one of them.
Yeah, maybe.
It seems...
Were you the one that told me about Governor Pritzker doing that fake press conference? Okay, that
sounds like a fun story, though.
It was basically just like, hey, we're gonna rename the Lake Michigan to Lake Illinois because it was fake. It was like, yeah.
I showed you the Greenland thing, right?
What, the bill to
the red, white, and
rename
blue
it Red, White, Blue Land? Oh my god,
that wasn't satire though. I know,
no, it's for real.
I know Republicans' whole thing right now is that nothing is sacred and let's troll
nothing
everybody.
Sacred oh yeah,
but that's like. Still, like, that's a real piece of legislation. Right alongside Trump's ban on paper drinking straws to give a big fuck you to the sea turtles, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like it's all just distraction, waste of time, senile old man yells at cloud kind of shit. But it's really fucking damaging because, I mean, let's be real.
And it's just hateful.
Even if he's a little bit successful, that is going to fuck our environment just a little bit, and that for some reason makes conservative-minded people happy right now, and I don't get why.
They're like destroying the planet, even if it's in a small way, because it's like it's going to upset people.
Which is really funny because when I tend to think of some of the most conservative people I know, they all tend to be of kind of like the outdoorsy, let's go hunting and camping kind of variety. Like, wouldn't they?
Yeah, for sure.
Wouldn't they want a more comfortable, pristine, unspoiled environment to interact in? I mean,
would they want that? Yes,
I'm
but
not being stereotypical
that's thinking
here,
like two steps ahead. That's a lot to ask. That's a different level of hatred, right? Because you have to be willing to give up one of the things that you enjoy most in order to own the libs, right? Mm-hmm.
What a shitty,
think about like a kid on the playground that like I can't have this toy. I'm going to destroy it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
That exists in children who are hateful.
Right.
So,
but
yeah.
Like, you know, I don't know. I don't feel like I hate most conservative people. I definitely am growing increasingly resentful of their ideals. Mm-hmm. But like, even if I did, I can't imagine myself being in a place where like, okay, we're really gonna do something to make those conservative people angry and upset. But in order to do that, you have to destroy all of your favorite video games. And just being like, fuck yeah, let's do it. That'll show them.
Yeah, that'll show those assholes.
Yeah, right?
Wow.
Like, I don't follow, you know?
It's just like, well, that's not how we're built. But it's like, it can be hard to it can be hard to like understand it from an empathetic point of view. Like how do they do this? But I think I get it. As horrible as it is, it's like, I think I understand it.
And that's what I'm trying to kind of... we were talking about healthy outlooks. That's kind of one of the things that I'm trying to do here too, is to try to be a little bit more empathetic with people who do not share my political and social outlook on things, and to remind myself that like, if that's really how they feel, where like all that they have is doing things to damage the planet and upset other people, I mean, something traumatic had to have happened at some point to make them that way.
I mean, I think a lot of these people are working through a lot of fear and shame. You know, when people call them out on stuff, that they feel ashamed, you know, and they feel badly, and so it's just like lashing out,
right?
You know, and it's almost like just formulaic, that it's just the most unsurprising thing to see this play out, and to see like the coworker I used to work with, that it was just like he would act like this, and then he would tell me about like just these really shitty things happening in his life.
Yeah,
you know,
right, exactly.
You know, his family and, you know, maybe debt and stuff. And it's just like, yeah, dude, that sucks. You're really going through it.
Yeah.
And
that's
it's like,
usually how it
but
goes,
you're blaming the wrong people.
Yeah. Yeah, he's looking for the wrong people to pick him up. Right. That's exactly right. I remember there was this one Onion article during Trump's first campaign way back in 2016. And it really stuck with me. One, because of how funny it was. You know, Onion can occasionally just strike gold with their writing, but the whole premise was it was a Trump rally, and you know, it was kind of when Trump's slogans were still novel. You know, lock her up and off with their heads and everything like that.
Yeah.
Like, we were still shocked by those things.
Yeah.
But the premise of the article was like, during one of the Trump chants, you know, lock her up, off with their heads, they suddenly started like airing their real feelings. I feel like the world has passed me by. I'm not happy with the person I've become. And then they all like snap back to it. Off with their head.
I mean, hell, that would be almost therapeutic, you know?
Yeah, right. A little bit of actual
that would be
catharsis.
better than like what they're doing. Yeah.
But yeah, it was funny. It was the whole point of the article is, you know, the off with the head chants and everything. That's their way of expressing their disappointment with the society that has overlooked them, right? And for some reason Trump has tapped into that in a way that liberals, despite liberal government, despite enacting policies aimed squarely at kind of giving those exact demographics more of a leg up. I don't know. I think the Democratic Party has lost touch with how to communicate because they're so... And don't get me wrong, I agree with the Democratic Party's social agenda, but I think the social agenda has taken such a front line in American politics that I don't think, to a person, anyone I know could tell me, like, what campaign promises or practical policies of Trump or Kamala they voted for or against. It's all like, you know, I don't want drag queens teaching my kids or whatever. Mm-hmm. You know, it's... That's I mean, what some people... Or like the drinking straws. I hate that I have to go into a restaurant and have some college student tell me I can't use a plastic straw. You know? But that's the reality of it. Those are the things that are attention grabbing, and that's the only way that Trump knows how to behave, is to be as constantly, incessantly attention grabbing as he can.
Yeah.
And so
some people are also just
like
what issue voters.
Yeah.
Some people will always vote Republican because of abortion is the one social thing I can think of that's like the biggest driver
They
when it
fucking
comes
won
to
on
more
that.
the
So, like,
moral.
what more do they want?
Yeah,
I hate to say
seriously.
it, but I mean, we.
God, more and more,
pretty much,
I
if
see-
you want access to decent healthcare for women, make sure you live in a blue state. Like that's
Seriously.
where we are.
It's just like it's bad enough that it's just like, oh, we can't access it. Depending on where you live, it could be like, oh, that's murder. You get the death penalty. Like,
Yeah, seriously.
what in the fuck?
Like fucking
If
Texas
that ain't some
right
Gilead
now. Jesus.
Handmaid's Tale shit, like, what is?
Oh, actually, Texas compared to some other red states is actually a little bit more middle ground, just because of Houston and Dallas. Like they're not ready.
They are.
They're not ready to part with their abortion rights, which is kind of hilarious when you consider how vehemently Cruz argues against it.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, there's that deep-seated religious base in Texas that'll always make sure that, you know, they get their way.
Probably. I feel like a few years ago, even like during the Obama years, I was like, oh my gosh, is Texas like going to turn blue?
Yeah, could we see a blue Texas? Not looking like it right now, but it
no,
was
not
then.
looking like it. No,
Yeah.
it's kind of definitely going. I would have called them purple
Oh, wait, they're
in
seceding.
like the
Great.
Obama years, and, right?
Oh,
But
God, what
seeing
happened?
like the governors that they elect and just the horse shit that happens in their House and Senate,
Uh-huh.
it's like no, they still got a ways,
Oh, yeah.
you know.
If you're already working on something,
Oh,
And they were
I
like
don't mind
kind
if
of
that's
the
a priority.
leading the charge as far as like voter suppression when it came to limiting like early voting and ballot what do you the drop off boxes, the ballot
Yeah.
boxes especially. That was, I mean, they started doing that everywhere, but Texas kind of started it and got it rolling and was really like, hey, this county with like 3 million people, yeah, there's gonna be one drop off.
Right,
Location.
and,
Like,
and there's going to
really?
be a dude in a MAGA hat with an assault rifle watching.
Exactly. Yeah. Jesus.
That's the
Ugh.
other. I mean, they can say whatever they want about the election being won fair and square. There was absolutely voter intimidation, and I don't think that's what lost us the election. But it also sure as shit didn't help. Like like in the weeks leading up to it, there were large groups of people that weren't sure if it was exactly safe to go out and vote.
Yeah. Also, dude,
Which kind of sucks.
I feel like Trump is making it very hard for me not to be a fucking conspiracy nut. Like,
Me too. Oh my god.
like seriously, the whole like, oh, they stole the election back in 2020. It's just like, are you fucking serious? And like hiring the cyber ninjas and all this dumb shit was like, really? And now I was like, I'm never gonna be that way unless there's like such overwhelming evidence that there's actually like fraud or that that there's election fraud.
And so I know what you're gonna say. Enter Elon Musk, right? And his
enter Elon Musk, yeah, but also
and his
enter
voting
the things
machines
Trump
that
said.
like give you a free candy bar if you vote Trump. Jesus Christ.
Like fucking Trump, right into the podium, being like, "Oh, he's so good with computers, so good with those voting machines," and yeah, that's how we won Pennsylvania. And it's just like, okay, there's no cuts. This isn't AI.
Yeah, like
this is not out of context.
He's saying the corrupt part out loud. Everyone's hearing this, right?
It's just like, okay, so either that's a thing, or it's just like, oh, good, Trump. You can't trust anything he says, but I voted for him.
Right.
But he just says outlandish shit.
Well, and
it's
then
like,
there was the
really?
part where, I mean, you remember back in like August when he was like telling large groups of his own people, it really doesn't matter if you show up to vote or not.
Oh, there was that? Okay, I was thinking you were gonna talk about what was it? The just vote this time, then you won't have to vote anymore.
No,
it
doesn't even matter if you vote this time. It was something like, I forget what the exact wording was. He said, but it really doesn't matter because we're gonna take it. And I think most people, like you said, I'm a bit more conspiracy prone than I was 8 years ago. But at the same time, I think most people heard that as, I could make another January 6th happen if I wanted to.
Okay, that
which is
horrible,
equally
but makes
disgusting
sense.
and despicable, but
that makes a lot more sense.
but it's also not like I'm masterminding some grand scheme to, turn every vote into a Trump vote. I mean, could it have been? Yeah, he had Musk in his pocket at that point. And,
it's just like, if they tried, could they do it?
Who knows what he meant or what he was getting at, or if he was getting at anything at all. If it was just his
or just the
boasting and being a
ramblings.
bitch.
Yeah, or trying to like foment. Yeah, because I don't know, like I think about Musk and doing the Nazi salute, and it's like, do I think he was trying to do a Nazi salute? Absolutely.
Yes.
Was he doing
100%.
it because he's like, oh, white people are like, because he's like a total like Nazi? Maybe. That wouldn't shock me at all, but I think it's much more likely that he's like testing the waters and being like, I could say this wasn't a Nazi salute and I'll get away with it.
Absolutely. I think you're 100% right. I think he has white supremacist tendencies. I haven't seen any conclusive evidence that ties him to a specific like Nazi organization. He might share like ideological similarities, but I think you're right. I think the point of that salute was to say, I can do whatever the fuck I want, and I'm untouchable.
Exactly.
And I'm untouchable now. Right?
And it's kind of like, well, yeah, he did it twice on camera behind the presidential seal.
Yep.
And everyone jumped to be like, that was, look at Kamala doing it in this still picture that we're not going to put into a video.
Yeah,
like,
right.
This book.
God, what a world, man.
What a world. Fuck, dude. Well, anyway.
Didn't we start this episode by trying to, like, have the sex talk or something? Let's go back to this.
Something like that.
Dude, wouldn't it be a great change of pace for our channel if, for, like, 30 minutes, like, no jokes, no juvenile, like, our usual stuff. We just straight up give the sex talk to a group of lonely gamers.
People, if we had a phone number, people could call in,
Yeah, right.
And if they had some questions for us, and,
yeah, I mean,
like,
I'm a dad.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm here for you. If you need an internet
You've had
dad,
the sex at
I'll
least
be your
twice.
internet dad.
No,
we like
I gotta
just like straight face looking at the camera, and that's when the man's penis is inserted into the woman's vagina.
God, I still remember 5th grade sex education.
God, it was so horrible.
It was terrible. It was terrible
it
because
wasn't so much even the content itself. It was, to their credit, it was actually fairly,
it was actually fairly
instructive and not creepy. The worst part, though, was just, like, being in the room with some of the other guys.
Yeah, being in the room with fucking, like, Andrew.
Yeah,
like,
I wasn't going to name names, but yeah, there's a billion Andrews out there.
I'm not gonna, like, say the last name. Young kid.
Yeah, right.
But, like, in frickin',
Mr.
L's class,
being
like,
and then he raises his hand and he goes, how does your dick get hard? Oh, my
like,
God.
Say penis.
Say penis.
Say penis. That didn't make it much better.
He wasn't my favorite teacher, but that was a moment where like he had to like take pause for a second and like choose his words very carefully.
Yeah, he probably had to maybe took stock of his life a little bit. Yeah, right. Just like
what got him here?
Oh shit.
Right. Oh yeah, that was the worst though. Like I mean, because you're a fucking 11-year-old kid and like all of a sudden you're like not only learning all of these new words, but they have to do directly with your body and like all of the changes that you're going through. And then you're sitting next to like all of these other guys and it's like so wildly uncomfortable.
Hell yeah. Yeah, they did separate us, didn't they?
Yeah, they separated the guys from the girls for it.
I get it.
Oh yeah,
that's not controversial for me.
No,
or
that's
anything.
not a hot take for me either.
No.
But at the same time, though, like I would have gone an even deeper conservative route and just given everybody their own private booth to view the video. And then, like, you leave school immediately after that for the day.
Right?
Someone,
go home and take
like
a
a
cold
guidance
shower.
counselor asks you on the way out if you have any questions. No, sir.
No. All right, good. Take a cold shower, but don't stay in there too long.
Yeah, right. You've been in the booth for a long time, Chris. Nothing. Oh, God.
The last of the machines.
All right, I think now I could do some story.
2B, 9S, come in.
I think I remember the rough part of the story that you're at, too.
The carrier ship that
Oh, yeah.
to resupply
At least
comes
this
under
part
attack.
is like, once this happens, then the scenario changes a bit, because we get separated, so.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, this is the part where 9S wasn't with her. There we go. Gundam time.
The guy, right? It's like Now I can
See,
fight for
total
realsies.
slave driver. Whoosh.
If she didn't
I've been thinking about what you had told me, like how they only have so many of these machines ready to go, and that's why you can't spend the whole game in them. I actually call bullshit, because
Yeah.
think about like what 2B and 9S are. They're fully like sentient, autonomous, like advanced human cybernetics, right?
Yeah.
Like they've managed to successfully duplicate the most complicated aspects of the human body and make them into robot form. You mean to tell me these like little helicopter drones are more expensive than that?
But look at these lasers, man.
Yeah, but check out the lasers.
Check out the lasers.
2B can't do no lasers. 9S, he's got no lasers.
Ow.
Oh, shit.
Oh, wait, when did I hack something? What?
Oh, it happened.
I guess.
Dude, did you see, speaking of game announcements, well, we weren't speaking of game announcements, but lots of game announcements.
Oh, yeah.
I'll start with the most boring one, but for some reason it made me think of it. You see, like, the Tetris 99 Donkey Kong Country thing?
Oh, no, I didn't. That's because
fun.
Donkey Kong Country Returns just came out, right? Or, like,
Yes, on the Switch.
the remake of it.
And now they're doing something. I didn't see like the whole thing, but I saw Tetris 99 was back on Switch's front page. I'm like, okay, cool.
Ow. Yeah, I feel like every time something like that comes up, I mean, they'll eventually have the themes to buy.
Yeah.
But you can always get them for free if you, like, play enough during the event and do good.
I was gonna say we should absolutely do some Tetris 99 on this channel.
We should invite Addy for that, because I think...
Ooh, that'd
yeah,
be
if-
sweet.
It would, yeah. You and her can play. I'll watch because
Oh, I suck. I suck real
yeah, so
bad.
do I. I suck at Tetris. I'm
good at it, like in principle, like, but I kind of get the feeling I play Tetris wrong. You know, like you're supposed to go for like, you're supposed to build a tower, and you get that one like straight piece, and it destroys like 10 rows at a time. The way that I get ahead in Tetris is I don't allow my rows to get above like 2 or 3 high.
Okay, so it's just like you're not going for high score; you're going for survival.
Yes, my lizard brain, it automatically goes into survival mode in Tetris.
I get you.
Carrier Blue Ridge 2. Requesting support from any friendly units in range. We've come
I
through
still
So
don't understand.
consequently, like when it does get higher pressure, I immediately fail.
Oh yeah,
Currently resisting with all
My brain is
yeah.
ready
Once
to
it
deal
starts
with
like fucking getting real quick, that's when it's like, okay, all right, I tune out. This
Yep.
is
Fuck
let me
this.
quit before I actually lose. And that's the thing. It's just like if you're playing the OG Tetris, you just play until you lose. And
Yeah, that's right.
I don't like that. I don't like that. I want there to be a goal, like modern Tetrises, like Tetris Connected, where it's just like, hey, it's a stage you can beat.
Like as soon as
But,
it's over, like a screen pops up, existence is futile.
And I bombed the Kremlin. I don't know.
You right? You bomb the Kremlin. You played this for 35 minutes, and you were no closer than the person who played it for 5. How do you feel about that?
God.
God is dead.
This is an allegory
There's
of how
only
you live your
Tetris.
life. 7 times less efficient than your fellow person.
Oh man. But
Tetris Connected is
the
a really
other
fun
side
game
of
to
that,
watch someone
though,
else
is,
play.
Freaking Onimusha, man. Talk about a series
Way of
that
the
I did
Sword?
not expect to make such a big comeback.
Oh yeah. I mean, and
Well, I
also
think Capcom's gunning on it being a comeback, but hell, I'm gonna buy it day one.
I'm also kind of surprised, like, it's not, it doesn't seem like a remake. No, it seems more like a remake, I guess. But it's just like, is it the first game with someone
Reboot.
different?
I think you're going for reboot.
Reboots, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a remaster like the second one that they're doing, which was also kind of a surprise.
Yeah. No, I
it's like,
from what I saw from the gameplay, I'm getting way more of a mix of like Ghost of Tsushima meets Onimusha.
okay.
Like the sword play seemed much heavier and more deliberate, which I could not be more excited about. And I think Musashi is such a great character for that, because they even opened the trailer with like the reference to him using a boat oar as a weapon to beat a man to death. Did you catch that?
No, I didn't.
So one of the most famous legends about Miyamoto Musashi is that he was a man who enjoyed wine, and he would pass out on the beach and like leave his sword at bars. And so one morning, as he was lying drunk on a beach, some guy thought he was going to rob him, and all he had to fight him with was a boat oar. And of course, Musashi still won because he's
Musashi.
And I love that they kept that as his character in the game. Like, he seems like a real, like, badass.
So that was like in the
slacker.
beginning when someone found him under the bridge.
Yeah.
Was that the reference? Okay.
Yeah, like, and he made the reach for the boat oar. That's what
Oh,
that
okay, I
was.
didn't catch that. All right.
Yeah.
That's cool. And I like the character.
Yeah,
he
seems like he's gonna
like
be
a
lot of
total.
fun.
He seems like a total badass, but it also then you see, oh, it's kind of a front, you know.
Yep. Like,
But
he
he
sees, like, a
also
horde of
has the
demons,
skills
and
to
he
back it
starts
up.
running away.
It's like, oh, not good.
Yep. Oh, and I also like, you know, I don't know yet whether I intend to play the game in English or Japanese, but I will say I like his English voice actor. Like, I think the kind of Cockney accent was a good fit for him.
Oh wait, you say that again? Did you say you saw a trailer with an English voice actor?
Yeah.
Or no?
You didn't?
Oh, no, I didn't. I watched the Animusha during the state of play, and it was subtitled.
Oh, okay, cool. So the one that I saw
Oh.
this afternoon had English dub. And,
I gotta watch that, okay.
The lip sync wasn't there yet, so it was kind of funny. It actually looked like an old kung fu movie where the English dialogue completely doesn't match the lips at all.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And honestly,
That would kind of be funny if they kept that.
If they're going for more of a like old school samurai movie feel, I would be totally okay with them keeping that, like, as a deliberate
I would too.
choice. Like,
Yeah,
that doesn't
that's-
bother me in the slightest, and it doesn't take me out of it. It just lets me know that I'm hearing English dialogue over a Japanese property.
Yeah, I mean, you think about like fucking the Yakuza games and stuff. They used to be like, "Hey, this takes place in America. Don't worry about it." And now they're basically like,
Tokyo, New
you know,
York.
in English, they'll be like, "I can't speak English," and then when they're supposed to be speaking English, like in the story, they're like, "How are you?" You know, and it's just like, yeah. So they were always speaking Japanese, but the personality and stuff comes across with the English voice actor, and it's just
Right.
like, okay, we know they're speaking Japanese. So yeah, that wouldn't bother me in the slightest. As an artistic choice, that would be cool.
Yeah.
You know.
So actually, after we're done here, you really should look up that trailer, because I think you two would enjoy it. They went with kind of a Cockney English accent for
Interesting.
Come on!
Okay.
They kind of made him seem like a roguish drunk, and I love that.
I'm cool with that.
Yes, absolutely, because that's very true to his
Having trouble
character
over
in the
there?
old Fables.
I love that kind of personality, like
Hunter Squadron deployed.
kind of
He's kind of
sometimes
like the
it's a
Japanese
reluctant hero.
You know, it's
Unsuspending officer
yeah.
4 feet. Don't worry. We'll
I
take
think
it
of
from here.
also like Trevor Belmont from the Castlevania animated
Yeah,
series.
yeah.
2B, let's leave this
Speaking
area
of
for
which,
reinforcements.
we were talking a little while ago.
You and I should meet up
I
at
just
the
mentioned
spot I
Fei Hung.
bar.
Watching the Drunken Master movies with Jackie Chan. Those
Oh yeah,
those were some of my favorite kung fu flicks, period. And with that character that, you know, is basically that exact trope, but for Chinese culture.
I see. As a kid, I never watched a whole lot of kung fu movies. I would love to go back and watch. I watched a lot of Bruce Lee ones for whatever reason.
Okay,
But maybe
Bruce
that was
Lee's
just
awesome.
But like Jackie Chan's old stuff and like his Hong Kong movies,
Yeah.
not really. Like maybe what Rumble in the Bronx? That was Jackie Chan,
Mm-hmm.
but not a whole lot else. You know, other than when he started making more movies in the U.S.
Yeah, no.
I would be
vintage
interested
Jackie
in
Chan
watching.
is really good.
Yeah.
I was very sorry to hear he's such a horrible father, but
Oh, jeez.
doesn't mean I can't enjoy him as an actor.
Yeah.
Kind of like the car that I drive every day, you know, just
Oh
make
my
your
God,
peace
yeah.
with it. Oh man. Shoot, what else was I gonna say? Onimusha. Oh, Onimusha.
Did you
2
watch-
Remaster.
Yeah,
Which is-
did you watch the State of Play at all?
No, I haven't
Or know
yet,
what
actually.
what was announced there?
Any other big surprises? Feel free to
No big
please spoil it for me.
surprises. no like huge surprises. I think it was a pretty solid state of play. There wasn't like a here's one more thing like Astrobot or something. It was a lot of third-party stuff.
Did they show more Metal Gear Delta?
They did actually, yeah.
Sweet. I am so excited for that.
Yeah, they showed the entire game, I feel like.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's an old game, but
and it
I feel
seems
like
to me like
here's
they're
every
doing
boss.
The opposite of FF7, and they're trying to make it as like faithful to the original as possible.
It definitely, yeah, and people like played the like vertical slice of it, like a demo, like over a year ago. It's been a while, and that's what they were saying. It's like, yeah, this really just feels like
it's
Metal
like a
Gear Solid 3
one-to-one with modern controls and graphics, which is
basically.
okay.
Which is like, hey, that's probably what people want. It's also like because Kojima's not involved, but he casts such a shadow. I think it's probably the right call.
I mean, so much so that they brought David Hayter back for Snake, which is pretty great.
I didn't even know that until I saw this trailer. It was just like,
I really thought that bridge was thoroughly burned after Metal Gear Solid 5.
Now, I didn't play Metal Gear Solid 3, so it's like these aren't the recycled, rehashed voice like.
No,
they actually rehired him.
They re-recorded all the dialogue with as many of the original cast as they could get.
Okay, that's cool.
That was my understanding. That might have changed, but I know at the very least David Hayter is Snake again.
I mean, as far as with how old the game is, yeah, it probably would be hard to like. I mean, I'm sure you could upscale like the old voices with AI, but I'm so glad they're not doing that.
It would be kind of jarring.
Pay the voice
especially
actors.
Like I mean, if they're completely redoing the engine, then like even little things like the mouth movements are going to be different, and so the lines would feel wooden if they tried to match the mouth movements exactly to what was recorded in 04.
That's true.
And I also wouldn't be upset if they did kind of a Silent Hill 2 thing, where it's essentially the exact game, but they reconfigure the environments to work better in, like a 4K fully 3D space. And like the original Silent Hill 2, certainly Metal Gear 3 was a fully 3D game, but at the same time, it still had some of those, like, almost PS1 era sensibilities where, like, a large part of the game was top-down overhead style. And in fact, they, even in the 3DS
like this game.
remake, original 3DS remake of that game, they actually switched the camera in that a little bit so that you could see like the full 3D environment from a perspective that you couldn't in the PS2 version, which was kind of cool, but the limiting factor obviously being that it was on the 3DS.
Yeah, one interesting too, they redid that game for the 3DS?
Yep. I mean, it was still a PS2 game, but there were two major additions. One, a completely movable camera, which the original didn't have, and you could walk around while crouched, which, weirdly enough, the original didn't have. Like, such a basic stealth feature that every game, even non-stealth games, take for granted today.
Yeah.
But that, like, in the original Metal Gear Solid 3, if you crouched, you could not move. If you moved, you went automatically into a crawl.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it worked just fine.
So,
but it was a totally different way to navigate.
The 3DS had some interesting... Like, they also had... It was one of the modern Resident Evil games, I think.
Oh, Resident Evil Revelations?
Was it Revelations?
Yep.
It was. It came with a second joystick.
And I've actually played a little bit of it emulated. It is absolutely impressive. Like,
yeah.
I don't think I quite realized what it was when it came out back in 2011 or something.
Something like that.
But it is straight up on par with what Resident Evil 5 looked like on the PS3, but on the 3DS. That's really incredible to look at.
And it's like, even if it makes that effect because it's on a smaller screen, that's still really impressive.
Don't get me wrong. Like, if you zoom in, there's blurry-ass textures and everything, but still, holy crap.
It's 3DS.
Yeah. Like it is amazing that they were able to create a game of that visual fidelity and get it running on one of the 3DS carts.
Yeah.
It's almost like The Witcher 3 running on the Switch.
I literally was going to say that.
I mean, they made
it's also
work.
like, damn, Nintendo. Yeah, they do. And I know, like, say The Witcher is CD Projekt Red, but Nintendo's like, hey,
but
you
Nintendo
want to sell on this fast-selling console? Like,
I think
better make it work.
Nintendo's greatest strength as a hardware maker is their ability to optimize. Like,
yeah,
not only do they have like insanely good-looking games running on essentially 10 to 15-year-old hardware, but they do it in 3 to 4 gigabytes per game. It's incredible how well optimized their systems are.
The Witcher 3, it's just like, yeah, if you get freaking what do you call it? Oh my gosh, not Linus Tech Tips. What is the Digital Foundry? If you get them to like side by side, like, yeah, it's not going to be like the PS4 version,
right?
But when you're playing it, like, and yes, if it's like, hey, which version is this? You could tell,
right?
If you didn't know. At the same time, when you're just playing it, you don't care, like you
That's
said,
exactly
like,
right.
And it runs fine.
When you're playing a video game, your brain fills in the blanks. Like, even with, like, let's go back to the Silent Hill 2 remake as an example. Like, as I was playing it, like, yeah, I was aware that this is a graphically beautiful game. But it was also kind of like, yeah, this is totally how I remember the original. Even though looking at them side by side, they couldn't be more different. You know, like,
yeah.
Once you're actually playing a video game, your brain will fill in the blanks and just make whatever graphics are in front of you. Like, if it's a good game, anyways.
If it's good, yeah, I was about to say, if it's not jarring,
you will get sucked in, regardless.
Speaking of the opposite of that, well, maybe not, because a lot of people liked it. Did you play Pokemon Scarlet or Violet?
Scarlet and Violet, no.
Okay.
I had to think of which ones those were. Connor did.
Are they the newest at this point? I think they're still,
still the newest.
The last generation of Pokemon, and it's like those games. I was like, oh, they look like ass. That's unfortunate. And I saw the videos. I'm like, oh, this looks like a bad PS2 game. Like that is crazy how bad it looks on a big TV. On the portable version, it's still bad, unfortunately.
Right. And to be fair, Pokemon are portable games first.
Yeah, for sure. But a lot of people said, oh my god, this is the best Pokemon game ever. It really sucks that it looks like this because they did everything else right. But yeah, I don't know.
Dude,
it definitely seemed like something that stood out, unfortunately, unlike a Witcher 3 on the Switch.
You know what's really weird? I was talking with you about DS games on my Retroid Pocket 5.
Yeah.
I actually, for some random ass reason, just to see like part of what I missed back in the day, booted up Pokemon Black on the Nintendo DS. It's a really fucking good looking game.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
The original Black? No, I never played 5th generation. I have a lot of respect for what 5th generation did, because they kind of rebooted Pokemon. They're like, hey, guess what? There's not a single old Pokemon in this game. Right. It's all new, you know? And I think Black and White are the ones that like kind of took place in a more American
They were, yeah, like New York
world.
City-ish.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so it's like I've seen a lot of Black and White. Yeah? Okay.
Yes. Like
Did you play those when they first came out?
No. Like,
okay.
So my Pokemon story is I played the originals and I really, really got into Gold and Silver. And then I remember I skipped GBA. And then I think in college I purchased, I don't even remember which one, I purchased Diamond or Pearl to play alongside Christy and a couple of other people, but didn't really get super into it. Like, I don't think I even got through all of the gyms or whatever. So
that was a big deal because
play
wireless.
Those ones, but I didn't get into them. And then I didn't touch them again until Connor decided he was going to get into Sword and Shield, and I really liked Sword and Shield, actually.
Yeah.
So that is my Pokemon experience. I essentially played Gen 1, Gen 2, and whatever generation Sword and Shield are.
Oh, okay. And yeah, Diamond and Pearl a little bit, but not a whole lot.
Yeah, like not enough to say that like I actually got the experience of those.
Okay. Yeah, I played almost none of them. Red and blue, obviously. Like not even gold and silver. I did play a bit of diamond. Not a whole lot, but it was kind of like the fact that you could trade without having to like go anywhere. You could just go online and trade with people was huge. And wireless battles and all these other things, and fucking everyone had a DS and was playing Pokemon, so how could I not?
Yeah, right.
But then after that, it wasn't anything until Addie was playing X. And she played, I don't think she finished X, but she played X and she played...
Oh, those were the 3DS ones.
X and Y, yeah, X and Y, and then there was Sun and Moon, and then there was like the Sun and Moon sequels, like...
Yeah, both Black and White and Sun and Moon had direct sequels.
Yeah, those are the only two, I think. You know, not counting, the always third one that comes out of it every generation, like Emerald and
yeah, well, and lately
Crystal.
They've been doing the thing where, like, the current generation, they'll do a remake of, what, like, 4 generations before that?
Yeah.
So
they
like,
just
it started
did Diamond
on...
and Pearl.
It started on the GBA. So, no, I guess it would have been 2 generations. Like, on the GBA, they did Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, but then they remade Red and Blue, but they called it Green now. And then on the DS, they remade Gold and Silver as Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
which some people consider like the best Pokemon games ever is Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Which I think a lot of people keep Gold and Silver in high regard, and so like the remakes, I get it. Like,
but well, I guess I would have to see, like, there was something about that 8-bit Game Boy Color pixel art that really got me hooked, like back in the day. And I'm sure it's pure nostalgia, but I almost wonder, because the DS games were in like pseudo 3D, right? They were sprites on top of 3D environments.
Yeah, they look.
I wonder how well that would work for Gold and Silver. Apparently, really well, because you just said they're like the best games in the series. But
that's
like,
what
for
people
me,
say.
like I care less about like the actual Pokemon mechanics than I do like getting lost in the world.
Yeah,
and so like if the world isn't right, it's gonna kill the experience for me.
I get you. Yeah. Yeah, so Sword and Shield, I didn't see, and that's the thing, is like we own it. I didn't see a whole lot of that game. So, what did you like about the world?
Because
I know they have like an open part of it.
It's obviously very European inspired.
That's right. Okay.
It's I don't know. It just kind of was like the most Pokemon has felt like Pokemon to me in a long time, and I think part of it was just playing it with my 5-year-old at the time.
Yeah.
And that game essentially taught him to read, which was funny. like it's kind of like me with Final Fantasy. He got like super motivated to read and to understand what he was doing in the battles, and not having me tell him everything. So
when you were playing Final Fantasy and he was watching?
No, so like when I was a kid, Final Fantasy was a big motivator for me to become a better reader. For him, Pokemon Sword and Shield essentially taught him to read, so he could get through those games.
It was the same with me in Final Fantasy IV.
Yep.
And I remember just being like, okay, I need to understand this, and I get to play this game by myself. This is so cool, but a lot of reading, by the way.
Extremely important, and I'm just like looking over it here.
Don't worry about it. Androids are surprised to learn that machines also have feelings. What?
They can feel things.
What? I don't even remember what's going on at this point, because I'm just talking with you. But 9S is very stubborn, and it's like, despite what he sees and all the evidence he gets as to like something bigger going on, it's just like, no, machines are, it's like he's treating it like MAGA, stupid. I don't know, treats immigrants or something.
Oh,
it's
God.
Just like, yeah.
They don't feel anything.
Well, there you go.
They're
Yeah, you do not trust anything. So I think this is Adam talking to 9S.
Oh, interesting.
Because he kidnapped him.
Gotcha. But yeah, that's Pokemon. But I was really surprised because I actually did boot up Pokemon Black, and I can see why it was so successful and what all the hype is about.
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to play it fully, but at the same, I don't know. Maybe I will, because for me, Pokemon is at its most fun when it's not about the competitive min-maxing elements, but it's more just like, hey, explore this world at your leisure, catch these cool creatures, and yeah, like build up your Pokedex. Like that's where Pokemon is most fun for me. And
yeah,
like the most up-to-date generation is always going to be the most competitive. So going back to the previous generations is probably going to give me a much more palatable experience, because that's where like I just get to relax and not really have to care about, am I playing this game right or wrong? No, if I get through the story and I catch a lot of Pokemon, then I've played it to my contentment.
Yeah, and like you said, the newest one will always be the most competitive one because it's the newest one. That's what people are playing. But for a long time, they just kept getting more like balanced, and the tournament scene was becoming increasingly like more relevant.
Right.
Because like especially the first game, it wasn't balanced worth a shit. It was
like you had a psychic Pokemon on your team, you win.
You're good. But they started balancing it, then adding more classes, and then changing some of the older Pokemon to either be different types or just so that they would be more balanced. But yeah, it's Pokemon, like you said, I agree. Like, it's most fun when you're just going through the story and not worrying about IVs or worrying about let me breed these. Let me make the perfect Pokemon by breeding it this way. And it's like
literally hundreds upon hundreds of eggs and like catching shinies and breeding them with Dittos.
Shinies.
Oh my gosh. Screw that.
Yeah. I think they did a kind of a good job of being like, hey, this isn't important. Like, you don't have to do this at all. Well, some games are like, no, I absolutely have to do this. I guess it kind of just depends on what kind of gamer you are.
Well, and again, my like lizard brain though would tell me, like, even though I objectively do not want to go through all that, like, there's part of my brain that's going to be like, that is the right way to play it. Why would you play it the wrong way? Why would you have a party of weaklings when if you pour hundreds of hours in, you can have a perfect stat shiny Pokemon and be good.
Yeah. In some ways, games that won't even let you do that and only push that all at the end can be good for that. And that's like a weird... Mostly, I would still say it's a weakness of Final Fantasy 13, but, if it is something where it's just like, I'm going to be distracted, I need to grind, that game actively wouldn't let you grind.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, no, you can't go anywhere. Also, enemies give you almost no experience now. Just keep going, keep playing.
Yep. And you know what's weird, actually? That's, as much as I love FF10, that's still the reason why I've never done the remaster endgame content, is just because of how much grinding and maxing stats there are.
There is. Speaking of which, when I was over years and years ago, I was being like, let me do this for you. And I was like,
you
doing the monster arena and stuff.
I never did anything with it.
That's okay. Was that on PlayStation or was that on your PC?
PS4.
Fuck. Okay. I feel like if something's on PC is now like my legacy system.
Same here.
Where it's just like, hey, if I need to buy something, I'm going to buy it on PC if I can.
Absolutely. And I actually feel really bad because I've got this freaking obelisk of a PS5 sitting here on my desk. And like, I really only play it when there's a new exclusive out that catches my interest, like one of the Spider-Man games or something. And even then, like, I'm seeing Sony is now pretty much releasing all of their major games on Steam. So
for sure,
I'm like more and more losing my incentive. Like, I shouldn't say this out loud on the internet because Sony's going to hear it and stop doing it. But I'm losing my incentive to want to buy a PlayStation or have like more hardware in my house when my PC not only will do it, but it'll do it better, and I'll be able to play it on the next generation of PC hardware as well, for sure.
Yeah, I don't think Sony's going to stop doing that just because they're doing it right now because they're getting that second wind of people buying stuff.
Yeah.
And there's the fear, I guess, of, oh, people are going to like not buy things on the PS5 then. You know, they're going to wait for the PC version. That doesn't seem to be happening. Or at the very least, not at a number that would justify never releasing something. Yeah.
Right.
So kind of what's happening in the story right now is, you know, 9S is at a commission. He's trying to wake himself up.
Yeah.
But he noticed some weird noise when he's like synchronizing with the server.
Okay.
So he's like, let me check this out. And this is kind of how he's going to get into trouble. But
Sweet. I saw a really bullshit article earlier this week. It was like,
what's that?
The only thing that's keeping the Steam Deck from being the greatest console of its generation is exclusives. Like, no, stop. Fuck that. Like, even if it's my team, fuck that. Like, exclusives need to go away.
Yeah, they
like,
do.
As much as humanly possible.
You're seeing that with like, and that's the thing is like Sony, I think it made sense to do exclusives. And now that the Steam Deck and people are, you know, PC gaming is more relevant than ever.
Yep.
You know, and I think they're seeing like, oh, if it still made sense for them to do exclusives, they would. They're not doing it out of the kindness of the heart to release the games on PC.
Yeah, no, it's certainly not to be more user-friendly. It's because there's money to be made.
And so because there's money to be made, funny enough, that's what's going to kill the exclusives, I think.
I sure hope so.
I think we're getting there, and we're getting there kind of quickly. Like
Nintendo will absolutely be the last.
Oh yeah, you know they will, and that might never happen in our lifetime because they're fucking weird.
They are. You're right. It's just it's a whole different business philosophy than Sony or Microsoft or Valve. Like Nintendo's just got their own thing going, and that's for better or worse.
They got their own thing going. Sometimes they're like, "Damn Nintendo, you're cool," and sometimes a lot of times it's like, "Damn Nintendo, you crazy."
Yeah, like if it were honestly just like Nintendo, the game developers, they'd probably be like one of my favorite companies ever, right?
Yeah,
like I would have company loyalty towards them, but their corporate culture is so bad. Every time I get excited about like a new Nintendo property, I'm like, oh shit, I'm just feeding the beast. I just we've talked about this almost ad nauseum on this channel, but just like their animosity towards their own consumer base just makes no sense to me.
It doesn't even make business sense a lot of the time.
No, not even business sense. It's like a matter of pride for them. Like, who in the world in that corporate structure is making these decisions to like take their most dedicated fans on YouTube and give their videos copyright strikes for talking about Mario in a way that they don't like? Fuck that. You know?
It's they could
or like shutting down fan games.
Yeah, and it's just like, don't you like money, Nintendo? Like, I know they have a ton of it, but it's like, don't you want more money? Like, they could. Some things, it's like, if it's strictly business, I get it, but at the same time, it's like, man, the optics aren't good.
Yeah,
you know. But a lot of times, no, it doesn't make business sense. It's just like, one, you got all these people that are hyped about your games.
Right.
You know, making these fan projects and doing these things and implementing ideas that are good fucking ideas, and you shut that shit down. It's just like, no, you need to learn from these people. You need to hire these people.
Yeah.
And it's just also like, if every other game company is down with, and Nintendo is gotten there, but was down with like, hey, remixing like gameplay on YouTube, where it's going to be like, watch me play this game, I'm going to add my own commentary to it. You remember when Nintendo was like, don't fucking show our games on
period.
On YouTube?
Yeah, I remember that.
Like, they still kind of, if it's like
there's
seeing
a
long play with no commentary,
you
still don't see that for Nintendo games for the most part.
Right.
Because they're like, no, you need to add something to this. But
or we're going to shut you down. There's a guy who whose channel I love. Do you know Retro Game Core?
No. Oh, but you were telling me about them.
Yeah, so he's the one that I watch to help me figure out my little emulator devices and set up, basically emulation station and other things like that. He's really good. He's got a real knack for speaking directly and like making his instructions essentially foolproof.
Yeah.
But all of his stuff is emulation. And so when he would show, Super Mario 3D Land on the 3DS or something,
yeah,
Nintendo would give him a copyright strike.
Yeah.
Because he's showing that game being emulated. And again, on the one hand, I get it, it's their intellectual property, but how many millions and millions of other people are doing this exact same thing and are also doing it on their channels, only they don't have quite as many viewers as Retro Game Core, so you're going to shut him down.
Yeah, of course.
And again, Nintendo's decision to do this makes so little sense that it has now become a meme, particularly because of like the whole Switch emulation fiasco. And like I said, I've made it clear I don't think we should be emulating the Switch yet until like it's time for the Switch 2 and like Switch 1 games become less and less commercially available. That's where I see emulation being much more of a useful tool than just like straight up stealing. But and it's also so like anyways, going back to the Switch thing, because they were so aggressive though about shutting down the guys who are making the emulators themselves, not making ROM sites or distributing games for free, but literally just programming the emulators themselves.
Which is actually not illegal.
No, not illegal at all. And in fact, can be encouraged as a way to hold on to your libraries and, get use for them long after, your old hardware has become obsolete. But anyways, that's all besides the point. The internet has essentially taken to calling the Nintendo Switch the Nintendo Secret Console. And so now they've made a whole meme of it. Like there's videos and posts all over Reddit and YouTube of people playing secret console games.
Now, are they saying this because it's like less likely to be copyright strike?
Because Nintendo can't strike them for. They can strike them for playing the Nintendo Switch, but they can't strike them for playing secret console. And
Gotcha.
And so essentially they've just found a new way to piss off Nintendo, which is great.
Which sometimes,
it doesn't need to be this way. Like, you can have a healthy relationship with your own fan base.
Yeah.
And like, yes, you can acknowledge that it kind of sucks that some people are just straight up stealing your games. But at the same time, I do believe that if you're less of a dick to people, they're probably not going to want to steal your games as much. They may actually want to support a corporate culture that encourages its fans instead of demoralizes them.
Yeah.
So now, because it's a meme, everyone's freaking emulating the Switch or secret console because you're sticking it to the man, right? And,
yeah.
So again, it's like you said, it doesn't make good business sense. It just works against them.
It's also especially, like, they're getting better with having a way to play a lot of their old games.
They are.
But for a long time... What's that?
But not always the best way.
Oh no, most times not the best way.
N64 emulation on the Switch, for instance, not super great.
Yeah.
But better than the Wii, for damn sure, but...
Okay. I haven't noticed as far as, like, what have I played for the N64 on the Switch? I think I tried out... They have Ocarina of Time on there, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think that was kind of like the case in point example of, like, oh, they actually have these running a little better now. But on this... Oh, shoot, when we played Mario 64 on this channel...
I think it was Wii U. You were playing the Wii version on the Wii U.
It was the Wii version on the Wii U, and it was borderline unplayable near the end, where you kind of have to have real twitch reflexes. And at the time, I made the comment, like, this is a wonderful game, but I think we were seeing it through rose-tinted glasses. No, it's kind of like the Sonic Adventure thing, where, like, my body was remembering it controlling differently than it was controlling on the Wii U.
Yeah. Which is really unfortunate. Yeah. It's like you said, it is not the best way to play these games most of the time.
So
and
at
I
some
feel
point
like
we may want to do like another like Mario 64 like apology playthrough.
I'm cool with that.
Because,
like we're doing the Sonic Adventure one, yeah.
Like since I've been playing emulated games a lot lately, like playing Mario 64, it's like, oh shit, that's right. This is how it feels.
And that's the thing
really
with emulation.
A
lot of times it's like it's about preservation.
Yeah.
And it's about this is how it was. Oh, I'm getting you. No, not you. I want that guy with the huge axe. Oh, he's a good guy. Shit, that's why he won't let me.
Guy. Don't shoot him.
Don't look at. I mean, it's such a philosophical. Oh no, are they good? What's going on? What's morality? Just look at their eyes. If they're red, they're evil. Kill them. But anyway,
red bad, green good.
Red is bad. Duh.
Everyone knows red is bad.
No, he's gonna die. Don't kill him. Oh wait. Okay, you're not attacking.
Why are we all dressed like the Pope? One of the robots just wakes up. What the fuck are we doing?
Man, my capacity... Oh, okay. I was about to say, my capacity for things sucks right now. Because I keep selling all my chips and everything, and then it's like, oh, you're full of this. You can't... And it's like, I don't remember it being that bad, but whatever. But yeah, it's like a preservation thing with emulation, where it's like, this is how it used to play. And it's like, okay, and you know, it's gone through its, what do you call it? It's growing pains. But a lot of times it is the best way to play a game, aside from owning a CRT and plugging an old system in, you know?
Absolutely,
and
it is.
I think emulation, people most of the time... What's up, Sparks? Most of the time, people want to play these games and give Nintendo money because they like the company and they like the game. But emulation became as popular as it is because for such a long time, you couldn't play these games at all.
And like the ways that they did eventually make them playable weren't very good.
No.
And so, yeah. Well, I will say, though, with the Nintendo 64 and a couple of other Nintendo consoles, even if emulation can technically make them run really smoothly, just Nintendo's controllers sometimes prohibit like getting the full experience out of emulation. And I think the Nintendo 64 is kind of a case in point. It's not unplayable on a modern controller with like just the standard PS5 and Xbox layout. However, there are some button combinations, particularly with like the C buttons and the Z button, that there's just no control scheme you can map that will match the N64's weird-ass hand.
No, it was weird. It was fucking weird.
Mischief Makers was a struggle. Like it's like the only way to actually play it. Like, where else can your hands reach the Z trigger, the left thumbstick, and all 4 C buttons while still having access to jump and attack, right?
Yeah,
like
they
it
do.
Just
they
doesn't,
had to fucking...
like you don't have enough fingers or enough buttons to make that work perfectly.
They knew they had to release the N64 controller when they were emulating Switch,
right?
Or emulating it on the Switch.
Yeah, and you know, actually, I was thinking about that. Like, there's a lot of controllers. I think 8-Bit Dough has already released or is releasing an N64 style gamepad.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like the original. It's like, have you seen like the third-party N64 fighting pads?
N64. Are they the ones with like the 6-button layout? Like a 6-button face controller layout? Yeah.
Right, so it has like the hand feel of a modern controller, but it has a button layout and like back grips with the Z button.
Okay.
Yeah, like the N64. So they have those like on PC, like just straight up USB controllers or Bluetooth controllers. Oh, you are so fucked.
It was so slow. So slow.
Kill self.
The thing is, the dodge button is not the same on every robot. So I thought I was hitting dodge. Instead, I was hitting super slow attack. Oh, thank God. it didn't
nice.
start me at the beginning.
But yeah, like, I already have what I would consider to be too many controllers, but maybe just one more. For like if we really want to like play an N64 game on this channel.
Yeah, I totally get you, dude. Like, I was looking, when we were playing Mischief Makers, I was looking at the 8-bit dough. I don't think it was like no, maybe it was. It was like 6 face buttons, but it had like Super Famicom colors. Oh, level 1, shit. And I was kind of considering, like, hey, this is going to be a hell of a lot easier than playing this shit on a PlayStation controller. And,
right.
You know, I somehow made it work, even though it fucking sucked. But
yeah, and that's the thing. Like, if you're gonna do
it,
you don't want it to suck.
No, no,
you
was.
You want to like actually play through the whole game and like have an experience that is comparable to what you remember as a kid.
Yeah. The N64 is...
Not every N64 game, but another good example is Turok, man. Turok has
what about
fucking weird controls.
Oh, yeah?
it basically... It tried to pioneer, like, the 2 joystick system, but with only the 1 joystick and the C buttons. Like,
C buttons?
You move left and right with, like, L and R and, like, the C buttons to go forward. It was weird. I forget exactly how it was, but it's essentially impossible to map on a modern controller.
I mean, they really tried for some interesting things on the N64.
Yeah.
God bless them for that.
And to be fair, like, I actually played through the entirety of Turok back in the day.
Yeah.
And it worked. It was weird to get used to, but like once you figured out how to navigate 3D space using the C buttons, it was good.
Oh, he's level 8. I should have gotten him. Whatever.
Murder him in cold blood.
I mean, in for a penny. Sorry.
Oh God, that's great.
Guess I'm not going in there. But this guy can fly. Whee!
But yeah, I may spring for one of those the next time I have a little extra.
I mean, it's not like
cash.
They're
and
not
that'll
crazy
be my last
expensive.
controller, I promise.
Yeah, right. Okay, but a lot of these controllers you could get for less than $50.
That's true.
You know,
that's true. Like I only own one like ultra premium controller, and
which one is that?
A PS5 DualSense Pro that I found like gently used.
What do you think of it? I've heard it's a great controller.
It feels great. I love the extra weight of it.
Yeah.
I would never in a billion years pay full price for it, though.
Okay, gotcha. I mean, it is great. What is it full price? 170 or something?
Yeah,
like something
I think I got it for like 100 even.
Oh, not bad
at a used
at all.
game store locally.
Nice. Yeah, 170 is kind of insane. I don't care if the features are cool. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, I did hear, like, price aside, that it feels really good.
It does. It does.
And it has a lot of,
I
like...
played through all of FF7 Rebirth with it, and I actually really liked the back paddles because I mapped them to the enemy lock-on buttons. So, like, I never had to take my fingers off the face buttons to lock on to an enemy. And that was
that's
really nice. And so there I can see, like, it's a small thing, but it does actually add to the experience a little bit.
Yeah. Just to have like that perfect level of comfort, like
yeah, and that's what I'll say. Like, I'm willing to pay extra for like a controller that literally feels so much better in your hands that it makes a difference to how you play. But but anywhere over the $100 mark, and for me personally, I start to see a lot of diminishing returns. Like, I'm not a pro gamer enough that I would ever need, well, like essentially how they advertise the Xbox Pro controller, right? Where like the input latency is somehow just a little bit better, and
yeah, it's just like I don't play shooting games, at least not competitively.
Yeah,
and for me, it would be like maybe if I was a pro fighting game person,
maybe.
But even then, it'd be like, dude, give me a classic PS2 controller.
Right.
I'll probably be fine.
Like, if you're good, you're good, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Well, and there too, the whole fly in the ointment for premium game controller manufacturers is that in every single objective test that I've seen online, the number one competitor every single time is always 8-bit dough. and they charge
Yeah.
$40 to $50 for their controllers.
Yeah, so it's kind of like that's all you really need to charge.
Yep.
Like,
And honestly,
they're still making
like,
a profit.
The only two controllers I currently play with are 8-bit dough. Like, I have my like kind
here's
of
some
standard
shit.
Xbox layout one, and then my Christmas present one, which is shaped like an SNES controller but with grips.
That's the one with the charging dock you have?
No, the Xbox One has the charging dock.
Gotcha.
But yeah, like essentially
Yeah.
it's, and the only reason I even have those two as separate ones is the SNES one, they actually laid out like an original SNES controller, not meaning like the button layout, or I mean not meaning like that the triggers and whatever are oriented any different, but the actual face buttons on modern controllers are all a perfect diamond. On the original Super NES, they are a oblong diamond shape.
Mm-hmm.
So like the A and Y button are actually spaced farther with a wider space in between X and B, which means that I always use Mega Man X as my example. For games like Mega Man X, I can hold the Y button to charge and use the back end of my thumb to use A to dash without actuating the B button to jump unless I want to. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. I feel like so many people would say it's a bad thing because it's too far apart and you're stretching your hand.
It actually has a practical purpose in some games.
Ow.
Whereas, like, if I wanted to use the Xbox controller for the exact same game, I would still be fine, and it's still 100% playable from start to finish. But if I want to execute that maneuver of holding down the charge button while dashing, I'm going to unintentionally hit jump quite a few times on the Xbox controller, but not at all on an SNES layout one.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it
I know
is
some things
interesting,
for me
and, like, I
are
never would have
one-to-one.
thought of that.
Like playing Super Metroid on a PlayStation controller, I'm totally like I don't. It's like it's not like I don't notice a difference. I know what I'm playing on, but it's not something I even think about once I'm really into it.
No.
But I'm wondering if there's a game maybe from back in the day that I'm like, oh, you know what? I really need the OG controller.
There's like hyper-specific
N64, of
maneuvers
course,
that you learned as a kid that just because of the ergonomics are not executable on modern controllers.
I mean, for Super Nintendo, I bet you're right. For N64, that is 100% the case.
Yeah,
Like,
but for different reasons.
Again, Mischief Makers, holy shit. But yeah, yeah, but that's mostly down to do you have the weird controller or not?
Right. Or like you even look at like, oh shit, the first generation of the original Xbox with the Duke controller. And instead of L2 and R2, they had the black and the white buttons. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like there's some games, I think for most original Xbox games, if you were going to emulate one, you'd probably be just fine mapping the black and white buttons to L2 and R2. But I guarantee you there's probably like 2 or 3 of them out there where it would feel weird.
Yeah. That's an interesting thing with Mega Man X that you would unintentionally, you wouldn't even think about that until you play on a modern controller, and it's just like, oh shit, why is this
I didn't want
happening?
to jump there.
Yeah.
Never happened when I was a kid. And part of it too, though, like I have to be real, is just my fingers are bigger than when I was a kid.
Okay, but at the same time, like
controller, I don't do it.
I'm glad that we kind of figured out, like, hey, we're not as bad as we thought. It really is, going back to these old games, it mattered what you played on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for me, the controller is one thing. It was like, once I first started playing on HD TVs, and it's just like, hey, let me play like Mega Man or something. Immediately, I was like, yep, that input delay. And it used to be bad. It used to be like, hey, the best you're going to get is like 6 milliseconds or something. Right. And it's just like 6 milliseconds. You're not going to notice that on an NES game that's hard as shit.
Sometimes,
yes, you are.
Yeah,
of course you are. Like 1,000,000% you are.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, some people don't, and it's just like, well, they're not really good at games.
Maybe they didn't suck.
Maybe they didn't suck. But if you're playing something like Mega Man, those old games where it's just like a hair difference of like you need to jump at the very edge of this platform,
yeah, like
or you're not going to make it to the next one.
Yeah,
it has to be pixel perfect.
Sorry. You're
So,
back at command.
and you know the NES and to a lesser extent the SNES, but still, I mean they had those pixel perfect jumps, and you
I was
needed to. Did you think you got lost in the elevator for a second?
Yeah, I was like, wait, what's going on? I was like, I was waiting for him
trick.
to appear before I touched the controller, and it's like, oh, he's just bashful. He's a little bashful boy.
Bashful boy. Look at him there with little boots.
All right, I think I'm getting close-ish to the end of.
Is it time for next time on Play the Hits?
Almost. Actually, I think once I'm done speaking with the commander.
Sweet. Oh man, but yeah, all this being said, like as far as emulation goes, I'll let you know what I end up landing on as far as like an N64. I would actually like to explore my options a little bit and maybe have it do kind of double duty as an N64 and GameCube kind of alternative. But there, again, the solution might just be get a GameCube controller with a USB port.
I'm wondering, are there GameCube games? And you know what? Already I could think it's like probably a Nintendo property where it's just like you really need the GameCube controller. I'm like, yep, Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
And maybe
but I'm also not going to be playing Smash Brothers a whole lot on my PC.
I also think it's more of a personal thing. It's not like you're saying with Mega Man, hey, I learned how to do this, and it's kind of hard to do it another way. Like I'm gonna hit the jump button by mistake or something.
A little bit.
I think Smash Brothers, it's kind of like you can learn on a pro controller or something, but if you started by playing Melee, good luck. Like,
yeah, that's very true.
It's kind of hard to go anywhere else from there.
It's up to you.
Sparks asks, "Are you reading what they're saying in the game?" LOL. I know Max has. I've been following it a little bit.
I'm actually not reading what they're saying a whole lot just because this is a replay through. But yeah, you just learned that because 9S didn't know this. None of the androids know this. They're fighting so that humanity can come back to the Earth. You know,
these folks faked the moon landing.
they faked that humanity survived. There's no humans left. And so Project Yorha is basically androids have already come so far that they're basically their own, population.
Yeah.
Go on.
So Project Yorha is just to give them something to live for.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Their life has been a lie.
How do I tell?
Yeah. And as you get farther in the game, you figure out a lot more is a lie.
Cool.
Everything's a lie.
Makes sense.
So yeah, I think it's gonna be next time on Play the Hits. We're gonna see what the fuck's going on.
All right.
And then we really get into the game proper.
Oh, finally.
I think that
8 episodes.
next episode, shit's gonna get real. So
sweet.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. And I'll let you know about those controllers too. But yeah, definitely
show me because
definitely pick up the 8-bit Do Ultimate and strongly consider the Pro 2, which is the SNES style.
The Ultimate is the N64 one?
The Ultimate is the Xbox, like standard, just pitch perfect PC controller.
Yeah. Kind of like how
the Pro 2 is the SNES style one. I'll let you know what I find as far as an N64/GameCube offering.
Okay. Because I know they also have like there's the Xbox kind of perfect PC controller, but they also have the Pro, like Switch, Wii U Pro controller version, which I might prefer that. Like, I really like how the Pro controller
depending
feels.
on what your hands like, you may just want to use an Xbox controller on PC, which is going to work excellent. And for that matter, so also is the Switch Pro controller. It's a wonderful PC controller, actually.
It is.
But for some reason, the 8-bit Do Ultimate just feels just right for my weird hands.
Sometimes it's a weight thing, too.
Yep.
The Switch Pro controller is on the lighter side. The Wii U version is hella light. Is the lightest controller I know, aside from like, obviously Super Nintendo controller or something from back in the day.
Yeah.
But a modern controller, it's like the lightest modern controller I
Interesting.
know of.
But the 8-bit Do might be pretty comparable with that then. It's pretty darn light, but it doesn't feel cheap.
The Xbox version or the Pro Switch version? Okay.
Honestly, both, though the SNES one, the Pro 2, is actually, I think, a little bit heavier, or at least the weight distribution feels a little chunkier.
Okay. All right. Which I'm down for that. Like an Xbox controller most of the time feels heavy just because of batteries.
Yep.
And you get used to it. But yeah, I think I do like that Switch Pro. Just, I don't know what it is. It's like a perfect controller to me. I love that.
You just need to come down to Bloomington and we'll like try them all, and
yeah, right. I mean,
whatever you like best,
has
I'll get you for your birthday.
So
or
many
something.
models. Like they have a shit ton of models. So yeah, it's. I'll try them all out.
All right, man. See you next time.
All right, we'll see you next time.
Night Sparks.
Night Sparks.